Hi Pioneer, welcome back for First Chapter Friday. This Friday I'm going to be sharing this book with you. It is called Rosetown. It is by Cynthia Rylant, who wrote tons and tons of amazing books that you might have read before, and I'm going to read you the first chapter. 1. Wings and a Chair Used Books was where Flora Smallwood's mother worked 3 afternoons a week. Inside, it had a purple velveteen chair by the window for anyone who wanted to stay a while, and Flora, who sometimes felt quite acutely the stress of being 9 years old and sensitive, loved this chair. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays were her favorite days because of it. The owner of the shop was Miss Merriweather, a tall woman with deep black hair pulled tightly into a ponytail. Miss Merriweather told Flora that in her younger days she had been a free spirit, but that one day she decided to grow up and open a shop. Flora tried to imagine Miss Merriweather as a free spirit, but it wasn't easy, as the words inventory and bottom line sometimes floated through the bookshop air as Flora sat reading. But Miss Merriweather did like long, flowy skirts, so maybe she was still free in her heart. Flora's family had been through a time of sadness, for their old, loving dog Lawrence had passed away one spring night while everyone was sleeping. They all knew Lawrence was fading, but no one believed, really, that he would ever not be with them anymore. Especially Flora, who had held on to his collar ever since she took her first steps. But he did. He left them. And since then, the idea of a new family pet sometimes had been mentioned, yet never followed through on. Everyone was, in some way, still holding on to Lawrence's collar. Flora was an only child, and her parents were, for now, living in separate homes. The challenges of this, of course, were many, and there was the practical challenge for Flora of having 2 homes, with her own bedroom in each, for since most things did not come in duplicate, often the one thing she needed right that moment was not in this home, it was in the other. Sometimes the thing was not that important, as in the case of her green scarf or striped coat, but sometimes even something small like that, a scarf or a coat, suddenly felt so vital to her, and she felt a great sad longing because it was not in this home, but in the other one. Flora's father, Forster Smallwood, worked for the Rosetown newspaper, the Rosetown Chronicle, and he was, Flora thought, a nice man, a good father, and a lost soul. She was not sure why she thought he was lost. Maybe it was the look she often saw on his face, that look that detached him from wherever he was and whatever he was doing and put him somewhere else, maybe Neptune. But he was a good father and a good photographer, too. He often allowed Flora to stand with him in his dark room to watch a photograph slowly come into being. Standing under the red glow of the darkroom light, Flora watched the blank photographic paper bathe in the pan of chemicals. And then the formerly invisible face of a person would begin to materialize on the wet paper, his features becoming clear and strong, like a ghost who has suddenly found teeth and eyes and ears and put them on. Both Flora's father and mother had been very troubled by the war in Vietnam, and now American soldiers were being withdrawn from the fighting. Rosetown, Indiana, in 1972, was like any other small American town, its citizens sharply divided over the war and what it had all been about. Flora's father once told her, when he was in a dark mood after the evening television news, "You were born into an angry world." But then he had smiled, as if he realized how harsh this might have sounded, and he added, "Thank goodness you showed up just when we needed you." It seemed to Flora that the purple velveteen chair by the window in Wings and a Chair Used Books was more important than ever these days. Lawrence had passed on, her scarves and coats were confused, and 4th grade at Rosetown Primary School was so very different from 3rd. And that is the first chapter of Rosetown by Cynthia Rylant. If you're interested in checking out this book, it is in the fiction section under RYL for Rylant. It's a realistic fiction book, so if you've been looking for one of those, this might be a good one, especially if you're just starting 4th grade. It'll be just the same kind of time as the character in this book. So I hope you enjoyed this first chapter Friday, and I'll see you next week for another one. Bye!